Soothing the Soul, a personal journey of peace and harmony and being still.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Soothing the Creative Soul. On this episode, we're going to be looking into journals and all the different types of journals. The footage that you're about to watch was filmed almost 2 years ago now, but the content is really excellent, although my feelings have changed on some of the journal entries that I did at the time, but that's how I was feeling at the time that I filmed the video. So part one is all about the description of the different journals, and part two, we're going to create a journal. I haven't videotaped part two yet, so it won't be uploaded directly following this one, but it will be up in the next day or so. And I want you to sit back and prepare your favorite beverage, whether it be tea or martini, and really listen to the value of journaling, because I believe it's one of the most important tools that there is in soothing your creative soul and finding out about who you really are. And because at the end of the day, no matter what kind of supplies and crafts and things we have, as long as we have a writing element and something to write on, then we're good. So sit back and enjoy. Journaling is a tool for the spirit. It is the single most important instrument for nurturing your soul. In part one of this episode, I will discuss the many types of journals, and in part two, we will go on to create our own journal. Journaling helps you discover the wisdom you already possess, and sometimes that wisdom will surprise you. I'm just going to randomly go through some of these journals while we're outside. Okay, this particular journal here is my pain perspective journal, and I made this last summer while we were camping. And it's just kind of where I can chronicle my thoughts on my chronic pain. And I know a couple of family members have had a look through here and they've thought it's very dark. But when I did this is how I felt. And sometimes it's a really good purging and a sense of I put it on the paper, so now I no longer have to deal with it. This image is my pain, and that's me feeling always pulled away from the light. And again, you can see on some of these days I'm feeling pretty crappy, but I'm shattered, but I'm not broken. And so this goes on. This is my bad medicine and the good medicine, which consists of warm hugs, good friends, prayer, smiles, and tears. So what this simply was, I demonstrated this on an episode of Scrapbooking at Monica's Place, and I can't remember which episode it is, but it's basically recycling a phone book and painting the pages and then just going to it whenever you feel like it. I just took something from nature off the ground. A feather was there and some leaves, and Mod podged it on the top. And this particular journal, I wanted it to be very earthy and raw because it was for those kind of emotions. Your journal here is one of my most favorites. I call it a profundity journal. And here we'll have a quick look inside. A profundity journal is where you can record wonderful words of substance that you read or hear that really move you and touch your soul. And it can be lyrics to a song. Sometimes it's just something someone says on a television show that just touches you, and then you jot it down. So I've got them all here, and as you can see, I've collected quite a bit. This one is really, really nice. This day, may your soul be an open window, and let joy, like a quiet breeze, find its way in. And then I went on to record them in a really nice journal that my girlfriend gave me for a 50th birthday present. It has a little closure here. I think she got it at Bombay and Company. It's like a red cherry wood book. I love it. I've gone on to record the profundities in here. And if I don't get a chance to record them, or if I see something, as you can see, there's pieces of loose paper here that I will, when I have time, transfer them into the book. And in the back there's also things that I've collected. But what I love about this, not only is it a great place to record wonderful things you've heard, it's also, if you're ever looking for a quote for a card or a letter or a note for somebody, it's a great reference point to go and get something that's moved you and that may also perhaps move someone else. I've given profundity journals as gifts, just an empty blank journal, just with the quote that I'd mentioned to you about this is where you hear profound statements that move your soul and move you. And I've written that in my own handwriting, and then I've given the journal to someone. People love that. It's a very inexpensive gift and very well appreciated gift. This is the profundity journal that I gave to my son. I don't know how I found it in my stash of journals, but anyway, I gave them all to my children the last day of summer that they all graduated that particular year, and I can't remember what year, but this was Jesse's, and it was just simply one of those dollar store journals. I gave each one of them one and an explanation, and I can see that he actually did use it as a profundity journal. It says here 1999. The first entry he has: before one can fully become a man, he must first understand a woman. Well, that's pretty impressive, because I think he was, how old would he have been? 18 or 19. That's kind of neat. I'm glad that he had that, and I won't read any more of it, but I will certainly give it back to him. As you're aware, you can find beautiful journals in bookstores, and this is just yet another one where I have just written down my thoughts. A lot of times they're negative ones, but I try to focus on some positive ones. And as you can see, my journals aren't finished. I start a new one, go on to another. I don't think you should be so hard on yourself that you must write in your journal absolutely every single solitary day. That's putting too much pressure on yourself. Write in your journal when you feel like it. It doesn't matter if you picked it up and you hadn't written it in for years. It's kind of a marker where you are and where you're coming from and where you're going. May 3rd, 2005 was the last entry in here. But I did journal quite a bit of thoughts in this particular journal. And perhaps I'll pick it up again soon. I was writing in here all the things that I love to do, things that I wanted to see myself do in the future. It's neat to look back and see where I was at and what I was thinking. Sometimes my writing's really, really messy and I don't even care. It's just getting the thoughts down. All that matters. This particular journal is a nature journal, and it's just kind of where you collect things from your garden, like if you've got leaves or plants or something. Like for example, this arbor here, my daughter got engaged under, and then they transferred it over to their wedding site, and the cake was under it. So she might, for example, want to keep one of those flower petals that blossoms under the arbor and press it in a book like this. This one has really neat pages where you can keep little pockets. They're made out of wax paper, kind of like, and it's where you can store particular items. Hard to see in here. Just a sec. It has glassine envelopes, and inside of here, these leaves were picked on September 22nd, 1999, the last day of summer for the millennium. So I pressed them in wax paper and put them in here. And just so on, and I've got flowers that I've collected from my garden. And then at the very back, there is a place for journaling here. So I think I might take this on our camp trip, that we're going for a family camp trip, and maybe collect some things from nature and jot down my thoughts. And this journal called a Mother's Journal, of course I didn't use it as that. I used it as a place to write some poetry. Sometimes when I was really, really feeling a lot of pain, for some reason I was able to write poetry. This one here, February 14th, actually Valentine's Day, says, right now in this moment, this precious second of time, I am pain-free. I fear movement, as to move disquiets this moment, disturbs the knowledge of the delight, and reawakens me into my truth. perchance this was a dream. And I don't know where those words come from because I've never really been a poet, but sometimes the pain just takes you to a different place. So I'm going to transfer these poems that I've written into my pain journal, and then I think I'll illustrate them. Now, some people have trouble knowing exactly what to write about in their journals. And also some people say they don't always like writing about negative things or pain or things like that. So you can find some journals that give you prompts. This Black Pearls journal, and at the top of the book it says, I've had so many downs that I knew the law of averages would be in my favor one day. And then it says, on this day I, and you finish it. I'm sitting in my newly furnished sewing room, blah, blah, blah. It helps prompt you. Gives you a thought. Here's one here about heritage. For us, Africa is not so much a lost continent as an imagined one, by Jack E. White. And then it says, on this day I. And perhaps that will prompt you to write about your heritage or your history. You don't have to be African or African American descent, but it'll give you a prompt. And this one is about renewal and assertiveness and so on and so forth. And here are another couple of journals that have those types of prompts. This one is called The Colors of Life, a Woman's Journal. Inside this one, it's kind of taking you through a history of your life. So on the first page, they tell you exactly what to do. Describe your friends and friendships and what they mean to you. So it's easy, you just write all your stuff down. Then they give you a spot for photos. And then a keepsake envelope. This is a great journal. Then they go on to outline. This is like your family tree, evergreen. Describe your romantic memories and relationships and the special persons involved. I've had romances, but I haven't written them down. But I did find 2 love letters from my husband when he went to Europe. This was, so long ago, 1970, and I found those, and so I put them in here. And a little book that he gave me. So I plan on finishing this. I think it's a really neat collective of just kind of who you are. And it goes on personal gold, including your physical appearances and your personality traits and so on and so forth. And describe your challenges and accomplishments. I think this is a great kind of book. So if you and it also has a spot for photos, like I mentioned before. So if you can find something like this, it's called The Colors of Life, a Woman's Journal. Another great journal for prompting you as to what to write and how to get in touch with your feelings. It's by Cheryl Richardson, and I believe she also has a CD or a television show, and it's called Turning Inward. She gives you a question. For example, if you had all the money, time, confidence, and self-awareness in the world, how would your life change? And then 2 or 3 pages for you to journal that. So it just gets you thinking as to when did you first experience falling in love? Learn to see the blessings you receive. So it touches on both the positive things, your struggles, your strengths. It's a really, really good book as well. Well, what am I really afraid of? So this is another one that's really good. What's great about your life? And I didn't have any problems writing about that. Here we have another one that helps you towards your own personal growth. And it's by Iyanla Vanzant. You probably remember her. She was on the Oprah show, and she was the author of the book In the Meantime. And this is One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. And what she does in here is she gives you some things to read about. So each day there's a different little section to read and a little homework, if you will, afterwards. But again, it's just another way to get to know who you are and to help you get started on journaling. This journal was given to everyone that went to the Oprah Live Your Best Life workshop. This was one of the gifts in our goodie bag, and it came with a beautiful pen. And here I keep the picture of my sister and I that Oprah had on her website, actually. And it was just kind of fun because we were that's probably the closest we'll be to being on the Oprah show, but that was us at the workshop. It was a Live Your Best Life journal, and again, it was prompt. There were different chapters. Why are you here? And they wrote, she'd leave a profundity or quote, a little bit of reading, and then a spot to journal. And she actually called them exercises. Also showed you some more illustrated journals of my travel journals on scrapbooking at Monica's Place. But this was a journal that when we went to the Live Your Best Life workshop, I just wanted to jot down every day of everything that happened. So there's no pictures or anything, but different, just the thoughts and the moments, because I knew it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I even wrote down menus of what we ate, and it's just almost a moment-by-moment account of the trip, and I am so glad I had this because there was so much to remember, and it's something I don't want to ever forget. My mother gave me this beautiful journal. I'm somebody who records my dreams, and they're quite the entertainment of our family when we read them back. But this side is for daydreams, and then you flip it over, and this is for night dreams. So I think this one's really, really pretty. Really a neat journal. I don't think I've used it yet. No, not yet. But I will. My mom even wrote in here, Moon, that's my nickname. I always love it when you read and share your dreams with me. It makes me feel extra special. Speaking of the name Moon, this is my journal. It's called Moon Gazing, and I picked this one. My girlfriend gave it to me, but of all my journals, I selected this one. This is where I write miracles that I've observed or things that have happened that are just unbelievable. And it's amazing when you start to write them down how many there are. I love this journal. It's just, when I read back, I keep if there is a related article or newspaper article, I keep it on little pages like this, or the medical records or something. This one was particularly about my mother. The doctors had given her months to live. They said she had pancreatic cancer. Here's the tests that show all the results of her tumors and everything. And then we all prayed, and when they went to do her tests, the tumors were gone, and nobody could understand it. So we find that amazing. But these are all the different articles and things that I've, the documentation, I guess you would call it, that the miracle did take place. And this was another one. There's just so many, and it's just so cool because we really do, if we pay attention, there are little everyday miracles that happen in our everyday life. So these next two journals here are journals that you can often share with someone. For example, this is a journal that my daughter got for her dad. She loves that song Butterfly Kisses, and that was a song she danced with her dad at her wedding, and it was beautiful. They pass back and forth between each other, so he will answer some of the questions and she will answer some. And so I'm not going to read it, but it's an ongoing journal that they share. Blue journal here is what I call my couples journal. There was a time in our marriage, as I'm sure with most people, you go through a difficult spot or a difficult area, and we couldn't even talk without arguing. So I thought, what a good idea. I'll write him a page in the journal and have him respond in the journal. And then when we were both calmed down, we were able to discuss it. And you know what? It really worked. Sometimes his pages would be on a piece of paper and staple them in, but we would answer each other, and it really, really was a great way to work through some difficult times. So I'm glad I have this couples journal. Haven't used it for a while. Might have to again, but if I do, it's here. This journaling I've been doing is art journaling, which I kind of love. This one was just an old encyclopedia, so I altered a book. I covered it with masking tape, just covered it, and then rubbed shoe polish on it to give it that old leathered look. I took a crocodile hole punch and punched holes all the way down the inner side of the book. And then I hung things on it that really meant a lot to me. Like this here is my baby bracelet when I was born. My mom still had it. And there's a quartz crystal that my sister-in-law Danny made for me to hold prior to my spinal surgery to give me some strength, and a locket and so on. And And then on the inside, this was inspired by Susie Blue. I don't know if you've seen her, but she's on YouTube, and her name is Susie Blue, and she's an amazing, amazing multimedia artist. I'm not an artist by any means, but I loved exploring. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not an artist. Everyone's an artist, but I loved exploring that part of me and seeing what I could come up with. Underneath all of this paint and stuff, your first exercise is to write on the blank page all the reasons why you think you can't do this. Maybe because you can't draw, or people think you're silly, or whatever reasons that you think that you can't do it. And then the next exercise is to paint over top of all of those negative words and decorate and doodle and whatever you want, and then write the reasons why you can do it. And I just put because I can. And then do it for your inner child. So there under the vellum is a picture of me as a child. It says do it for Marnie, because that's what I was called as a child. So I just went on to I glued pages together so they would be thicker. And this one was just my perspective on religion. And inside of here is always question, and the things that I question is just a doily folded. This was my self-portrait. This was me, my diva side, and this is me, my more natural side with my curly hair, and just all these different things. I just painted squares and wrote stuff, and then I put Mod Podge on top. This was dedicated to myself. I am sacred. On one of her prompts, actually, she told us to draw a picture of our totem animal, and mine was a wolf. And what I didn't realize, that the wolf honors the feminine and is very focused on the moon, which is what my nickname was, which that was kind of neat. So that's what that page was all about. And this one was just a quote from an India Arie song, There's Hope, It Doesn't Cost a Thing to Smile. And I just thought it was really pretty, and I just glued a whole bunch of stuff on there. And this little profundity card, one of the teachers I worked with gave me that. So as you can see, you just go on and paint, and it's very textured and very fun, and it's just the funnest thing to do. Here is another one I did. I started in January, this one, and I was following Milliand, and she guided you how to do all of this. So I'll put the link in on the bottom here if you want to follow. And it was just a hard-covered book, and I made this sort of self-portrait, and it's kind of like one door opens up, things you want to leave in the old year, and the new year begins. She prompts you through how to do the different art journaling, and it's really, really fun, and it feels great, and you just get lost in it. The last journaling I'm going to talk to you about is gratitude journals. We've all seen these. Simple Abundance Journal of Gratitude. I have one, my husband has one, and you simply just write 5 things in it that you're grateful for in a day. And sometimes all I could ever write was, I'm thankful this day is over. No work tomorrow. This was great. This was given to me by a teacher I worked with for many, many years, and I love this journal. And then this last gratitude journal, again, I show this on Scrapbooking at Monica's Place, is where you create your own journal with messy things, and you number the pages 1 to 7 for every day, and you simply have to only write one thing a day that you're grateful for. And sometimes that's hard to do, but I'll put the link on how to do this one as well.